Today is the 22nd of February 2026. For many, the global food system seems stable. Supermarket shelves are always full, and foods from around the world are available year-round. This abundance creates an illusion of security, suggesting our food supply is unshakable. But beneath this surface, the system is highly optimized and interconnected, making it vulnerable to disruption. A single shock, like a drought or shipping delay, can ripple across continents. The stability we see is conditional, dependent on everything running smoothly. This essay explores why our food systems, designed for efficiency, can be prone to collapse under stress. We'll examine how external pressures don't create new weaknesses, but reveal those already built in. By understanding the architecture of our food systems, we can see how design choices shape both stability and fragility. The fragility is often built in long before the stress arrives. When food systems falter, we often blame the immediate crisis, a drought, flood, or trade embargo. But these events are triggers, not root causes. A resilient system is built to absorb shocks. Stress simply exposes hidden weaknesses. Imagine two bridges, one robust, one flimsy. Both stand in calm weather, but only the strong one survives a flood. The flood didn't create the weakness, it revealed it. In food systems, a drought doesn't create dependency on a single water source, it exposes it. Shipping disruptions highlight the risks of long supply chains. The real causes of collapse are found in years of design choices that prioritize efficiency over resilience. Stress is just the final test. To prevent collapse, we must look beyond immediate crises and examine the system's underlying structure. Fragility is a product of decisions made during times of apparent stability. Modern food systems are highly interconnected. A single product relies on a chain of specialized actors: farmers, processors, packagers, shippers, retailers. This efficiency means that when one link fails, the effects can cascade. For example, if a packaging factory shuts down, dairy processors can't package yogurt, farmers can't sell milk, and transport contracts are cancelled. Supermarkets face empty shelves, and consumers scramble for alternatives. What began as a local disruption spreads rapidly through the system. The tightly coupled nature of these chains leaves little room for error. Cascading failures are rarely caused by one massive event, but by a chain reaction of smaller breakdowns. Understanding this domino effect is key to grasping systemic collapse. Today's food travels through global supply chains, passing through dozens of steps from farm to table. Each step, planting, harvesting, processing, shipping, retail, is a potential point of failure. The longer the chain, the more chances for something to go wrong. Take an avocado from Mexico to Europe. Droughts, strikes, port delays, or fuel spikes can disrupt any stage. A single bottleneck, like a new import regulation, can spoil entire shipments. The system's reliability depends on every link working perfectly. Globalization has traded local resilience for efficiency, making distant events impact local dinner tables. Consumers are now disconnected from food sources, while the system grows more vulnerable. The stability of a meal in London may hinge on weather in Peru or politics in the Middle East. The sheer length of the chain multiplies the risk of disruption. Modern food systems relentlessly pursue efficiency, minimizing costs, maximizing output. Buffers, redundancies and excess capacity are stripped away as waste. Just-in-time delivery and reliance on single suppliers lower costs, but remove safety nets. Genetic modification boosts yields, but often only under ideal conditions. Every part is fine-tuned for peak performance in stable times. But this optimization makes the system brittle. Removed buffers were insurance against uncertainty. Extra inventory or alternative suppliers could absorb shocks. When stress hits, a system without slack has no room to maneuver. The very features that make the system productive in good times make it vulnerable in bad times. Fragility is the logical outcome of prioritizing efficiency over resilience. Older food systems were built for survival, not just maximum yield. Redundancy was key. Farmers planted diverse crops and varieties, hedging against disease or bad weather. Polyculture meant if one crop failed, others might succeed. Livestock diversity spread risk. Chickens, pigs, and cows each had different vulnerabilities. This approach sacrificed peak efficiency for reliability. Communities also maintained multiple layers of food storage, household pantries, and communal granaries. If one store failed, others could provide backup. Modern systems centralize storage, creating single points of failure. The distributed, redundant nature of older systems made them robust. They were less productive, but far more resilient to shocks. Redundancy was not waste, it was insurance. Today, we've largely traded that security for efficiency. Older food systems were modular and local, naturally containing failures. Short supply chains meant a crisis in one region rarely spread to another. Without refrigeration or fast transport, communities relied on local production and limited trade. This patchwork of independent systems acted as fire breaks, preventing local disasters from becoming global crises. For example, the Irish potato famine devastated Ireland, but had little direct impact on France or Germany. Today, a similar crop failure in a major exporter could affect the whole world. The lesson modularity and regional buffers increase resilience. While total self-sufficiency isn't practical now, designing systems with built-in containment is crucial. Old systems contain failure by default, modern ones must do so by design. Resilient food systems used layered defenses. Multiple backup plans for unpredictable challenges. The first layer was crop diversity, planting different species and varieties to hedge against pests and weather. If one failed, another might succeed. The second layer was preservation and storage, drying, pickling, fermenting, and salting food to buffer against bad harvests. This decoupled consumption from immediate production. The third layer was social trade with neighbours or community support in hard times. Each layer absorbed some shock, so a single failure didn't mean catastrophe. The system was designed to bend, not break. Modern systems often lack these layers, making them more brittle. Layered defences are essential for true resilience. Food system collapse is rarely sudden or accidental. It's the result of years of design choices. Pursuing efficiency, we've built a system optimized for stability, but fragile under stress. Stress doesn't create vulnerabilities, it exposes them. Cascading failures and domino effects are direct results of tightly coupled, globalized networks. In contrast, historical systems prioritized resilience, crop diversity, storage, and modularity. They accepted lower peak performance for greater stability. The resilience of any food system depends on its structure. Collapse signals that the system was never robust enough. Fragility is embedded long before crisis hits. To build a secure future, we must balance efficiency with resilience, learning from the past to design systems that can withstand the unexpected.